What is up, everybody? It is the post-game show. It's not as happy as I wish it would have been. All right, as the Packers lose big in Tampa Bay. It was an ugly game. It was ugly from the get. Well, I wouldn't say from the get-go. The first quarter was pretty good. Once that pick six happened, seemed like it was all downhill. All right, I'm going to have Alex Strofe joining me for the post-game show. I'm going to have possibly Josh Moser is going to join. We're going to have a good little post-game show. We're going to keep it upbeat a little bit. I had a few beers with me, people. I've been drinking for about 7 hours now. So, no, but let's talk about this right here. Let's check out this first comment we got here. Well, what happened? I believe I told you that. Okay, first of all, you do not count. You're a Vikings fan. How does a Viking fan talk shit? That's what I want to know. The Viking fan, hey, yo, one bad llama. Let me ask you this. Comment again. I want to ask you, what is the Minnesota Vikings record? I want to ask you that. All right, I want to know. What is the Minnesota Vikings record? Y'all lost to the Atlanta Falcons today. Minnesota Vikings lost to the Atlanta Falcons today. Woo! That's got to be hard to swallow for a Viking fan. Y'all told me that they were the best team in the NFC North. But let's get into this Packer game, the team that actually matters. The team that actually matters in the NFC North. Let's talk about that team. All right. The Packers had a bad showing. All right. It wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. I don't even know what to say about this game, dude. I was mad as hell. I ain't gonna lie. I was arguing with people on social media. I was getting a little rowdy. But, dude, I love my team. So when they don't play to the expectation that they expect to play at and that I expect them to play at, I get a little pissed off. All right, people. I was a little pissed off throughout most of that game. But I want to hear your thoughts. All right. Yeah, like where's the tenacity on defense? Yeah, the defense they didn't bring it. You need to get Tom Brady's face. You need to punch him in the mouth a few times. You know what I mean? Not literally, but that didn't happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, dude, I'm gonna get Alex Strofe in here in a minute, but like, dude, this team, that's not the Green Bay Packers. That is not the Green Bay Packers that we know. Okay, we got Josh Moser joining us real quick one time. All right, what's up, Josh Moser? Look at this. I got a background. All right.
You're killing it, my man. How many beers deep are you already?
Dude, I've been drinking for like 7 hours.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue for a lot of Packers fans.
Yeah, so the Packers, that was a rough one, all right? The Packers lost big, all right, but what do you got for it? Okay, you obviously, Josh Moser, he's a Fox 11 sports director, big-time reporter, all right?
Trying to be like you, man. Get to a show where I can drink some beers and talk to the people, say what I want.
Dude, that's the life, right? But I don't get paid. But no, but like Aaron Rodgers talked, I assume. I didn't see it because I was eating, because I was getting ready for all this thing, and I had a lot of drinks. I was like, I gotta eat something before I do this post-game show. But what did Aaron Rodgers have to say? Like how was his mood?
My biggest takeaways from it, both Rodgers and head coach Matt LaFleur, just like, we had a crappy week of practice. And sometimes when you have a crappy week of practice, you can still go out and have a really good game. But they were very upset, Rodgers specifically, about the way they went in and out of the huddle. He even said when they were up 10-0, he just never felt like he was in rhythm. It just felt off. And obviously the 2 interceptions, I mean, it was 156 throws without throwing an interception. He throws 2 of them in 3 throws. I mean, it's just uncharacteristic. In the second interception, Matt LaFleur said they were in the wrong set. They were bunched up. They were supposed to be out wide, wanted to burn a timeout. When the tip drill happened, get picked off a second time. So, I mean, I think it was just little things. And there's something about that stadium. Aaron Rodgers does not play well in that stadium. He's been hurt in that stadium. Of course, coincidentally, that's where the Super Bowl is going to be this year. But it was just a bad game. Rodgers said afterwards, it's an anomaly. He doesn't think this is the start of a trend. But that defense is real. That front seven is real, and those inside linebackers are really, really good. This is the best defense the Packers have seen, in my opinion, all year.
Yeah, so but I don't think that this is going to be like a new norm. Like I don't take a lot away from this game. Like it was a horrible game. They caught an L. They should have caught the L. After that pick six, I felt like I don't know. Like it was just when something like that happens early in the game, especially a team that's not used to even turning the ball over at all. It's just like the energy gets sucked out, and I feel like they never regroup, especially because he came out and threw another interception. That wasn't really his fault. It was tipped or whatever. But not the greatest throw in the world or whatever. I don't know. I just saw replay. But I'm not saying no blame to Rodgers because that pick six, I think that was not good.
Where are the Smiths? That's my question to you, Matt. Where is Zadarius? Where is Preston Smith? Where are they?
Yeah, where's the defense? Like I love Preston Smith. Zadarius Smith, I love him. But like, is it the coordinating? Because I'm getting a lot of comments even right here in this thread. People talking about the defense. Like, is it the coaching? Like, what is it? Is it the scheme? Like, what's going on with the defense? No, Brady had nobody was in his face all game.
No, and I mean normally this is the other way around. Look at the job the offensive line's done for Aaron Rodgers, and he's the mobile quarterback over Tom Brady. But it's Brady not getting touched. That can't happen. I mean, you can't have a clean sheet, especially when you get Kenny Clark back. I know Kevin King being out, he really is a big piece. And obviously with his size in the back, Josh Jackson, I mean, there's no comparison. Josh played well early, and then obviously we saw what happened. But this defense has to come up with the turnover. And players always say they come in bunches, but Amos had a pick. Ty Summers almost had a pick. I mean, they have to make those plays. And it was weird. I mean, I was expecting big things from Adams, Devontae, and I thought they were just going to be right back in rhythm. And, it seems like, having Tyler Ervin out, even Matt LaFleur said that really threw him off. And I mean, your return guy's gone. I think there were just a lot of different pieces in different places. But to go out there and let them score 38 unanswered, I mean, that's Aaron Rodgers referred to it as a stinker. So, we'll see what happens on the road at the Texans. And I think, they're in shambles. So that's a game I think we should see what the Packers truly are.
Yeah, I did. I think the Packers will bounce back really big. No, because, I talk a lot of shit on the internet. I don't know if you know.
It's the internet.
Yeah, you follow me, so you know that I talk a lot of trash. So, like, as this game is going on, my phone is just, dude, I'm getting mad. It's like, bing, bing. People are bringing up old posts because, I said the Packers are going to win by 30 or something. I said something crazy. But no,
I'm surprised you got battery left, my man.
For real, I had to charge my phone just because I'm just ignoring it. It's like, bing, bing. But, like, dude, I have faith in my team. And I have faith that next week, like you said, they're playing the Texans. I think they're going to come back. I think they're going to beat the hell out of them. And I'll say it all week long. Dude, and all these, like, comparisons, like, everyone's talking about Tom Brady. Like, I love Tom Brady. I have no hate for Tom Brady. I really don't. But this week I did, because he's playing the Packers. So, but, like, dude, I don't think – this was not Brady that beat the Packers. This was the Tampa Bay defense, the Packers' lack of offense. I mean, obviously the Packers' defense a little bit. But I think once that pick, like I said, that happened, it felt like the whole thing turned. The Packers team as a whole, it runs through the offense. That's just what it is. Doesn't matter. Like Devontae was out, Lazard was out. They balled out. Obviously, that was against the Falcons last week, but we're playing a good Buccaneers team, a possible playoff team. It just, dude, I just think it was a shitty game. Like Roger said, it was a stinker. Now you come back, it's one game, 4-1. The schedule doesn't get any harder. The schedule is pretty pleasant. So dude, I'm not worried about the Green Bay Packers right now. Are you?
No, not at all. I mean, especially you got to play the Bears twice, and you win the division, you're in. So that's really all you're looking to do. Curious to see though with this new playoff rule where only the number 1 seed gets that bye. That's what I'm talking about. It's Sunday night.
Let's crack it.
Yeah.
Hey, let me bring in my buddy Alex. Do you know Alex Strofe?
Bring him in. Let's go.
Let's bring him in. There he is.
What up?
Alex
What's
Strofe.
up, guys? That's a tough one. See, Moser's a big deal. He can't have a drink with you. I knew you needed a
can't
drinking
do it.
partner, so I figured I'd hop in a little early.
Yeah, it's
All
perfect.
right.
As soon as this
You're too
NLCS
much
game
of a
is
public
over,
figure, man. We get it.
yeah, we'll be all right.
All right, so I don't know if you guys are acquainted, but obviously you know Josh Moser. You might know Alex. Probably not. He's not that important. No,
I think we're friends on Facebook. I think we know each other at least virtually a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
You'll know Alex soon. He's kind of a big deal. Anyways, but
speaks very highly of you, Alex.
Clearly, yeah. Apparently, I think it might be the alcohol talking, Josh. But we'll let it fly. I love the ego boost.
So, like, I don't know. Me and Josh was talking. Like, I never do. I'm buzzed. I've been drinking for like 7
You're
hours.
living up to your name, Ramblin' Matt Ramage. Right?
Yeah, no shit.
Ramblin' Matt Ramage. All right. No, but like, are you guys worried? I know Josh isn't worried. You know, he's not. Alex is probably buzzed up, so he's probably not worried.
No, not too bad, actually. I just got done with my post-game show, so I'm actually having only my second beer of the night, but my goal is to start getting there. But no, I'm not worried. You can't be worried, right? I mean, it's really, really, really hard to go 16-0. We've seen it done once in the last 3 decades. So, I mean, it's like, meh, you know you're going to have a loss at least some point along the way. I expect they probably still have a really good shot as long as they stay healthy. At 13-3, even 14-2. I mean, you look at this next stretch of games for Green Bay, the next 5. At Houston, Houston's not good this year. Home against Minnesota, they're not good this year, and it's in Lambeau, so that helps. At San Francisco, still a question mark, but they're beat up, and they haven't been playing well. We'll see, obviously, more as their game is just getting underway against the Rams here. And then they're back at home against Jacksonville the next 4 games. That could easily be a 4-0 stretch, maybe a 3-1 stretch if they slip up, and they're still looking at a 7-2 record at worst then. So I'm not worried. I still think this undoubtedly is a top 2 to 3 team in the NFC, if not the entire NFL. It's a bad day, really bad day from the offense, even worse day from the defense.
So, Josh, like, I've been yelling for a long time. Packers are the best team in the NFC. I'll yell it next week too. Right, just so everyone knows, I still believe the Packers are the best team, and I'm drunk, but I'll still say it tomorrow when I'm sober. Where do you do you believe that? Do you think the Packers are one of the? I mean, obviously, you got to give the Buccaneers some credit. Like, they did their thing, they beat us, but like, dude, I'm still not sold. I think the Packers are one of the best teams in the NFC, if not the top.
I'm putting them at 2 behind the Seahawks. They haven't lost. I think that place, especially if you start getting fans. CenturyLink Field is one of the toughest places to play. I think Russ is having an MVP year. I think Rodgers was having an MVP year. I think this game definitely puts it in Russ's favor. Obviously, we're 5 games in here, so there's a lot of football left to play. You've got 3/4 of the season left, if you will. But I think all roads lead through Seattle. And if you really talk about that new playoff format with only one team getting a bye this year, it's going to be really interesting because that off week late in the year to get healthy, that is a huge, huge advantage, especially if you got home field throughout.
Yeah, like I will disagree because I think the Packers, I'll put the Packers above the Steelers, and I'll tell you why. Because like I'm an analyst type shit, right? So
yeah, let's hear it.
The Seahawks barely beat the Vikings. Right. So like I was arguing with Seahawk fans all week. I had a few death threats, whatever, no big deal. No, but Seahawk fans, they don't like me. We don't vibe together. But like they barely beat the Vikings. They're like, well, we beat them. But now look what happened to the Vikings today. And like I think the Packers and the Seahawks are really close. Like any given Sunday.
But let me hit you with a counterpoint because I know this will probably fold your argument. It will be funny to watch you unravel. So the Packers, obviously, they did not struggle against Minnesota. You mentioned Seattle did. Seattle's also flawless on the year. They're 5-0, and Green Bay just got smashed by a team you probably don't consider in the top 4 in the NFC. So how do you put them over Seattle after such a horrible showing in Week 5?
See, that's a really
Week
good
5? Week 6? Week 5.
Yeah.
Week 5. Yeah.
That's a really interesting question. That's a really good question. No, but like I don't really have a good answer for that, except for my extreme bias. But no, I think the Seahawks and the Packers are very even. Like any given Sunday, like today, the Pack. Dude, if Aaron
Willie Beeman reference right there from any given Sunday.
No, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw that pick six, if that play doesn't happen, I think the Packers win this game. That swung the momentum. I'm not blaming Aaron Rodgers for the whole game, but like, dude, it's about momentum. When you have a really bad luck, like early in the game, and then he has another really bad luck, another tip, or it was a tip ball for a pick, dude. Like, I feel like that game was just over. I didn't feel like that at the time.
Antoine Winfield Jr. let the third one slip through his hands. I mean, Rodgers probably should have had 3 interceptions today.
Yeah, it was just, dude. I just think it's a fluky bad game. I'm not, I don't know. I get that. People can like say that Seahawks are best in NFC. I'm not like you're so wrong, this and that. But I'm just saying is like you can't just give a whole pass for like a really dude. Today was horrible, dude. I'm in my basement watching this game, cussing. Like my kid walks by, I'm like just cussing. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna head out, because like, dude,
yeah,
dude, it's tough, Josh. Help me feel better. Help me feel better. Give me something. Make me feel better.
We still have Aaron Rodgers, and it's like he had one bad game. It's not like he's going away for the entire season. This team will get healthier. Alex talked about this stretch of the next 4. You're looking at maybe 7-2 coming out of that. I think if you're at that point, you're in a really, really good spot. I know the Rams are playing right now. I think they got one of the better defenses in the NFC. I think they could be in the playoff picture. I think the Bucs are going to get better as they get more time. I think those are kind of the 4 teams right now that you want to look at as you start to get into the second half of the season. But it's really just about staying healthy. And there's no doubt in my mind they can't get this corrected. Matt LaFleur talked extensively, and so did Rodgers, about how bad practice was this week. And this is maybe the kick in the ass that they need. And now all of a sudden they come down. There's been a lot of talk, saying, hey, just like you, Matt, stirring everybody up, saying, we're the best team in the NFL. Now it's get a little bit of humble pie. That's what Rodgers likes to say. And I think we're going to find out over the next 4 weeks who this team really is. And I'm curious to see how they can respond. Right now we're in the moment. They got beat up on, but now's a chance to see who this team really is and what their identity will be. And I think they're in a really, really good spot. Still 4-1. You got to be happy.
Yeah. Dude,
I think that's funny you bring that up, Josh.
Tequila rips. We got to make sure you're all right going to work tomorrow.
No. Hey, I might make it. Probably. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe. My boss may be watching. There's a 90% chance I'm going to make it. What do you got?
9? Wow, that's higher than I thought. No, I was going to go back to what Josh said about the identity, because I think that was a topic we constantly harped on last season, right? We always talked about the team's identity, and we kind of came to the conclusion by the end of the regular season, the Packers' identity last year at 13-3 was winning ugly. And I'd prefer where their identity's at through 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I guess, technically on the league schedule this year is, what we saw the first 4 was high power offense, competent defense. We saw the exact opposite of that today in Tampa Bay, but I think that's short-lived. You called it a fluke game, Matt. I think that's carefully worded. I don't know if I'm ready to say that, because I think Tampa Bay is a real contender in the NFC, and they're really starting to find their footing. Tom Brady doesn't screw up the way he did last week, right? He doesn't do that. And
I wish he did.
He did, but he realized he did that. He probably heard Jamal Williams talking a little smack this week, and now he rebounds the way he did. And he didn't have by any means a terrific game, but he still had a team. And I know it's not all offensively, but 31 points on the offensive side of the ball, and the 7 on the pick 6, obviously. So it's rough. It was a really bad game, but a week of bad practice leads to this. And I think the one thing that I really took away defensively is we don't talk about Kevin King's importance enough to that defense. The defensive backs outside of, or I guess the cornerbacks more so outside of Jair Alexander today, look lost. You can talk about Jair, Kevin King, and then it falls down to a guy like Chandon Sullivan, who didn't play super well. You've got like Kadar Holman, and then you have Josh Jackson, who made his biggest play as a Packer today, and that was like a 45-yard pass interference. So it's just like the talent drop-off after Jair and King is dramatic. And, we talk all about obviously the contract situations coming up after this season. David Bakhtiari, Corey Linsley, Aaron Jones, Kevin King. I think Kevin King needs to be priority 2 or 3, and Aaron Jones might fall in last place, at least in my opinion. But I'm not Russ Ball. I'm not Brian Gutekunst. That's just how I see it. Even though Aaron Jones obviously plays such an important role in this offense, A.J. Dillon and Jamal Williams both had better days than him on less carries. So it's tough. I mean, it's a slippery slope. It's a conversation that continues to evolve and change every week. But through the 6 weeks we're at now, I think Kevin King needs to be at the top of the priority list.
Yeah, I think that Kevin King missing is a huge thing. Now, Josh, I know you're a busy guy, so if you have to dip out or whatever, just let me know because I don't want to.
I got a little bit of time. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking about this game, and really reminds me of 2015. I think the Packers were 6-0. They go to Denver, get blown out by Peyton Manning and the Broncos, and that team I covered before coming here. And that team, the Broncos, when they won, looks eerily similar to this Tampa Bay team, where their offense can just do good enough, and they got this defense that's just killer. So, and Aaron Rodgers kind of played the same way he did in this game to that game. So I'm curious to see the parallels if I could go back and really look at that. But Kevin King's a big piece. He's always tweeting out, he's worth $100 million. And I think Packers fans really got a sense that, when you're a 6'3" corner in this league and you can cover somebody that's big, I mean, you don't hear these Julio Jones names when he's on him and those types of guys. And those are what receivers are now in 2020. But he's a huge, huge piece. And I'm curious to see as they start playing together, he might even be a bigger piece than Kenny Clark. And Kenny got that huge extension. So very interesting to see what kind of moves Russ Ball can make. Because I think they might need to get a guy. We talked about Snacks Harrison going to Seattle. We've talked about some of these guys that are still available. I can tell you Aaron Jones just moved into Tramon Williams' house last week, so Tremon's not coming back. So maybe there's a guy that they can bring in and maybe just light this up a little bit. I know Earl Thomas is a name, but I don't know. That salary cap situation is so tough with the guys they got to bring back, and especially with this COVID situation, we don't know what the numbers are going to be. Yeah. But I think these next 4 weeks are crucial, and I think once we get through these next 4 weeks, and you've got 8 games in the bank, 9 games in the bank, you're going to have a much better idea of what this team is in 2020.
I understand why they pay you to talk sports, Josh. Well said.
Yeah, you're very good. No, I want to get to just a few comments here. Let's just click one. 2 interceptions, 1 passing interference in the end zone. A.R. lost his mojo and the D-Stunk. No, I don't.
Is right.
No, but
I mean,
yeah, in this one single game, I will say Rodgers lost his mojo, but dude, if you work like a week straight, like you work 6 days a week, you have one shit day, but the rest of the days you're killing it, dude, they're not gonna fire you or they're not gonna write you up or whatever. Dude, Rodgers did not have a great game today. As the offense as a whole.
Are you talking about your own life, or are you talking about the Packer game?
Dude, I'm just trying to get fired, Josh. No, but dude, Rodgers has been lighting up this whole season. Dude, if not for Rodgers, where would this team be? The reason that the defense has been doing their thing, right? But because the offense has been so lighting it up, doesn't matter who's in there. I mean, the running game was doing their thing too. They're doing a lot of good things. But today, the offense just wasn't clicking. It wasn't there. I don't think you shit on them and be like, oh, the season's over. This, people like the bridges collapsed.
Anybody, Matt, flat out, anybody that's doing that is just a certified idiot, and you really don't need to pay attention to them because the Packers are still 4-1. Yeah,
they're 4-1. Like we talked about earlier, the schedule gets a little bit lighter. They played a playoff contender. It just this game pissed me off. I ain't gonna lie. This game pissed me off. I felt like the Packers are good enough to handle this team. Not even a blow, but keep it close and then win at the end. I get it's Brady, it's all these things, but I think the momentum got swung early. Or somewhat early, wasn't end of the first quarter, whatever it was, and then they just couldn't get it going. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm glad my post game show wasn't for an hour after the game because I was waiting on Alex. That's the kind of guy I am, Alex. I waited on you. I was I want Alex to the show. So I'm gonna wait a little bit, get something to eat, soak up this alcohol, let my my
clearly worked.
It did, dude. I was mad as hell though, but like you said, Packers are 4-1, dude. I'm optimistic, baby. They could go 15-1. 15-1, Josh. Josh.
15-1 sounds good. You sound like James Jones. But look, winning solves everything. You're 4-0. You have a shitty week of practice. You lay a stinker, you lay an egg on the game. So here's a week where you can actually look at things, and I'm very curious to see how they come out on Sunday, what they're going to bring. I mean, it's always tough to play on the road. I don't care if you have 15,000 fans, you have 70,000 fans. It's especially to go back-to-back on the road. That's a lot of lost time. And then you've got that road contest coming up in San Francisco on a short week going for a Thursday night game. I mean, we're going to find out who this team is. And I would just kind of, hang tight. But 15-1 is totally realistic. I think you're there. But even if you're at 12-4, I think you're fine. And I'm curious, do you rest guys week 17? I know that game's against the Bears. I think that might be a situation where you're playing for, a home playoff game. So
I think so
they
too.
say it's week to week, but these guys are looking way in the future. They'll tell you they're only worried about the next opponent. It's bullshit. Like, they very well know who is on the schedule and the games that they need to win.
Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, you look ahead, and I think that week 17 game, not to jinx it, so I'll knock on wood right away, but that could absolutely be a situational game where you're not only playing for a home playoff game, you might be playing for that 1 seed. And as you mentioned earlier, Josh, that's so much more coveted than it's been in years past. A team that hasn't had a bye hasn't made the Super Bowl since like 2015 or 16, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So it's that bye is super important. If the Packers are the 2 seed like they were a year ago, they're playing a home playoff game, but wild card weekend instead of the divisional round. So it's definitely tough. And you're absolutely right. There's no way they aren't looking ahead to, some of those contests. November 5th has to be circled on Matt LaFleur's calendar, because not only did they get embarrassed once at Levi Stadium last year, they got embarrassed twice at Levi Stadium last year. So that November 5th game, no matter, even if San Francisco's in the dumps right now, in 3 or 4 weeks, they're going to be still a very good football team.
Yeah, Titans are rolling too, and obviously LaFleur coming over from Tennessee. I think that's one to circle as well, even though they're in the AFC. And Matt, you missed your moment. Your moment was supposed to be Packers didn't need a bye when they won the Super Bowl in 2010. They were in the wild card. They didn't need it. You could do it again. 15-1. You can take it from there.
Dude, I totally agree. Dude, I think having a bye week a lot of times, I don't know the stats on it, but I think having a bye week a lot of times is bad. Like, if you're on a roll like the Packers were in 2010, they were on a roll. Like, they knew that, dude, they were in the playoffs in like week 10, whatever it was. They were in the playoffs early. They had to win every single game. And when you're on that mindset, like, dude, we cannot lose. When you're on a streak, you're undefeated early in the season. You're like, yo, we grinding, baby. They get all like little flexing a little bit.
Good. I like that.
Oh, no, but like, I think you get. I don't know, because I'm not on a team. I've never been an athlete in my life. One time I ran to a bus. I missed it. Whatever. No big deal. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm glad you're lying.
But like, I don't know. But I feel like maybe they get a little cocky. Like, yo, because I do as a fan, I get cocky as hell, and I'll still be cocky because I think that they can do it. But when you have to, when you a bye week, like, you stop, like, everything stops. Even like right now, the Packers lost after a bye. Like, everything stops. Everyone goes home, especially this Corona thing going on. And they didn't go on vacation. They were sitting in their apartment watching like Ancient Aliens or some shit. And maybe they were watching my podcast. I don't know. Probably not. But
no, definitely not. Yeah,
no,
go on.
Maybe they were watching my live shows. All right. But I don't know. I think buys like stop a really good flow that you got going on, especially going into playoffs. So I think they'll have a bye this week. So I'll tell Aaron Rodgers, maybe if he wants to come on my show, maybe he could just chat with me and then we can figure this thing out.
You got the hookup with McAfee now. I mean, it seems like you got it in. See if you can get him on the Ramblin' Matt Ramage podcast.
I doubt that Pat McAfee ever knew that I was on his show. Because Evan Fox DM'd me and said, hey, can we use your clip for the show? I was like, I'll give you $10 if you do. No. But I didn't offer no money. I don't have money, Josh. I'm poor. But I doubt that, because that was like for a commercial. But Hey, I was on 2 shows, Josh. You never put me on Fox 11. What the hell, Josh?
I'm waiting for you, man.
Alex, I'm saying is like Josh.
What are you even talking about?
Because I was on Pat McAfee, right? I was on the other.
You're too big time for me. Like I can't pay you any money. They don't even.
You don't
pay us
gotta.
any money.
You don't gotta pay me nothing, Josh. Put me on TV. I want my 3rd grade teacher to see me that told me I ain't shit. She's watching Fox 11 weather, and then all of a sudden I pop on. She's like, "Oh, I should have been nicer to that kid." Anyways.
I'm glad you have the notes of the teacher that was mean to you, 50 years ago when you were 8.
50 years?
I made you a lot older than you actually are, but I just wanted to, pour some salt in the wound on Miss Jackson making fun of you, a ton of years ago.
How did you know her name? First of all, that's weird.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. I just had some Outcasts pop into my head. Yeah.
Big Outcast fan with that. I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna let you guys take it from here.
Josh, always a pleasure, brother, man. Appreciate it. Good stuff.
I appreciate you, Josh, stopping by. And get me on Fox 11 or I'm going to disown you.
Yeah, you're going to disown his ass. No, what a great guy, though, seriously.
No,
I have never had a conversation with him face-to-face, I guess, quote-unquote, COVID-style face-to-face. But the dude does great work in Green Bay and really nice guy. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for letting me not sit in the background. That was a good stuff.
That's the connections I have there, Mr. Alex Strofe. All right, so let's take some questions from the old face or the comment section. Mostly Facebook.
Yeah. Throw in. We would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe if you got any questions for Matt, who might be applying to be the next defensive coordinator at Green Bay Packers Inc.
I don't think I am, dude. I know nothing about defense. I don't think
Mike Patton does either, man.
I don't like what's happening. I'll say that. I don't like what they're doing, like game plan wise. I feel like they get me in the room. You know what I mean?
Well, look, I mean, that maybe not be the worst thing they could do. The defensive staff, right? They could bring the rambling Matt Ramage in, and you could just tell Preston Smith how to rush the quarterback again. We talked pregame, Matt, on Game on Wisconsin. We talked pregame about Kenny Clark being added back into the mix and how that would affect the pass rush, because it seemed before the game, it was obvious you bring the rush to Tom Brady, and he has a not so good game. And while by no means did Tom Brady have an immaculate game, for scoring 31 points on offense, 32, I guess. I don't know. You get my point. For scoring that many points on offense, he really didn't have that terrific of a day, at least the stat line. It's very average Tom Brady lines. But Preston Smith, again, a non-factor. Kenny Clark, not a huge factor. Za'Darius didn't have a great day. The defense did not stop the rush at all. And you thought that's maybe what Kenny Clark would bring back to this defense, right? Being able to stop the rush. And Ronald Jones goes for over 100 yards again this week. He's having a great season. Respect to him. But it's still frustrating to watch the Packers defense collapse the way it did today against Tampa Bay. And this was the real first test I think they had. Maybe you can consider New Orleans as their first real test, but this is their first real defensive test. And to watch the offense go from scoring 10 points in the first quarter to not scoring any points in the last 45 minutes, it's frustrating, man. It's just, I don't know what the hell happened, because they started off so nice. They were up 10-0, and then they lost 38-10. So we can blame it on the bye week blues, right? You have that extra week of preparation. That should be another excuse for why you should come out faster. Yeah. But you have this week off. You come out solid. You go up 10-0. The offense is hitting on all cylinders. Aaron Rodgers is finding Devontae Adams on these little slant routes, getting, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards every throw he's throwing in that first quarter. And then poof, it's the Harry Houdini disappearing act by the Packers offense. And the Packers defense forgot to leave the Austin Straubel Airport in Green Bay. It was just awful.
So, why? Why did this defense, why did Brady have no pressure? You're a smarter person than me, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know, because it seems like everybody...
You're like, yeah, I definitely am smarter than you.
Well, yeah, it doesn't take much, Matty. We already established this weeks ago. But, look, Mike Pettin was rushing 3 guys on third down at Tom Brady. And everybody that's on Twitter, using their Twitter fingers, as Drake says, or everybody sitting on their couch and eating, drinking Coors Light like you are, they're saying you need to bring the rush to Tom Brady. And they didn't do that. He was sacked once. And, adding Kenny Clark back should have only helped their case, and it really didn't defensively. They had no answers for Bruce Arians' offense. But as Kenneth Redmond just said in the chat, the best thing about week 6, it's over for the Packers. And, it's a loss. They're 4-1. That's still a really good record for those of you that aren't aware. They are not in first place of the NFC North. They're a wild card team now because the Bears are 5-1. And if you do the math, that's a better record than 4-1. So the Packers are no longer in first place. They're now a wild card team, and they are coming off of the worst week. And I will say this, I will guarantee this. This is their worst game of the regular season this year. This is similar. How I'm viewing it right now is this is similar to that San Francisco game in the regular season last year. I don't view Tampa Bay as a team like San Francisco. Can they catch you on a bad day? Can they beat you up even on your good days? Yes. Will I, if Tampa Bay and Green Bay match up in the playoffs, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot more fun than 38-10. So I don't think you can get too down after today. It's a tough loss by all means, but it is just one loss versus 4 wins that they have on the season. And we keep bringing up this upcoming stretch at Houston, home against Minnesota, at San Francisco on a short week. That one is the one where the highlighter is, right? Maybe that's the loss, but that's still 7-2 through 9 games. They host Jacksonville the following week, 10 days later. So, if they win 3 of those 4, they're 7-2 and likely still in first place of the NFC North because the Bears have at Los Angeles, the Rams next Monday night. The Rams look like maybe, not only the second best team in the NFC West, but maybe the third best team in the entire NFC. They've got, I believe, they've got New Orleans coming up as well. Chicago does. So they're going to lose probably 2 of their next 3, I think at least. So as long as Green Bay can get it back together and they play a bad Houston team next week, they don't even have a general manager right now, and they have an interim head coach. So I'd say, the classic 5 letters that Aaron Rodgers always throws at us, RELAX. It's what we got to do. It sucks. It's a bad loss, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly like what you said is that the Packers got some games, some winnable games coming up. Yep. The Bears are going to lose some games. First of all, fuck the Bears. True. But I was watching this Bears game earlier, and I was a little bit impressed. I was like, their defense, they come to play. But, dude, the Bears don't worry me. I think, like you said, they had the Rams coming up. They got, I forget who else you said. But I think the Packers will get back on track. Like, I think it was like a perfect storm. Like, the Buccaneers, they played a good game. And the Buccaneers are not no chumps. Like, they came to play. They were at home. Dude, they were ready. Dude, they smacked the Packers in the mouth. Sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth, Alex. I've been punched in the mouth a few times.
As have I. And it doesn't feel good, but it opens your eyes a little bit, right? It makes you say, that sucked. Maybe I should do better. Whether that be, in this case, obviously, you need to be better on the football field. And 38-10, I know Matt LaFleur is not going to let that fly. I don't want to be a Packers player this week because I bet practice probably going to suck. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he was bad today, and there's no way of beating around the bush there. We said earlier, he had 2 interceptions, probably should have been 3. Antoine Winfield Jr. let one slip right through his hands. Aaron Rodgers couldn't have gotten luckier there. I mean, I essentially look at that as the third INT. I mean, you mentioned sometimes you need to get punched in the mouth, and that's exactly what happened today. And that's what happened last year when the Packers lost to San Francisco after coming off their bye. Matt LaFleur now 0-2 as a head coach after the bye week. They lost 37-8. It's a pretty similar score to what it was today after the bye. You know what the Packers did after they lost 37-8 to San Francisco, Matt, last year?
What did they do?
They won 5 straight, which was they had a late bye last year. They won the rest of their games that season in the regular season. Then they went on, to get that bye, lock up that bye. Beat Seattle in the divisional round at Lambeau, and then they get swamped by San Francisco again in the championship game. But that's beside the point. They rattled off 5 straight wins, and none of them were super close. I mean, week 17 kind of was, but there weren't huge implications lying there. Packers needed people to lose to get a higher seed last year. So the win they needed, but that was really the only close one through that 5-game stretch, right? They pretty much punched the Giants in the mouth. Who'd they play after that? I know it was a home game. The Redskins at the time, Washington football team. I don't think that game was close. And then they had a couple divisional games to end up the season, and I don't think any of them were super close outside of, as I mentioned, Detroit in week 17. So, yeah, adversity doesn't hurt. Even in the McCarthy era, and when McCarthy was fired, we said a match needed to be lit under some asses. And I think that's what this does. It's a team that you don't really view, and I imagine none of the players in that Green Bay locker room view Tampa Bay as a top-tier team, let alone in the NFC, but in the NFL as a whole. So that's a game they know they shouldn't have lost, especially the way they did.
Oh, yeah. They did. Yeah. Exactly it. Sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth, and then it teaches you. Like, I used to walk home this certain way, right, from school. One day, I got my ass beat. You know what I did? I found a new way home from school. So that's what they got to do. They got to figure out, how do we not get punched in the mouth anymore?
They got to find a new way home from school.
Dude, that's exactly it. No, I'm really not worried. I'll accept the L. Like, everyone who's talking shit, my phone, I just turn it over because it just lights up from people talking shit. I got to turn my notifications off. So, but like, dude, I'll accept it. But like, dude, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to be all boo-hoo, the season's over and all this shit. They played a good team at home, and they got punched in the mouth. But they got a lot of good weapons. They got a lot of the schedule is friendly for them, like we said. And dude, the Packers are going to win out. They'll win out. And even if they don't, let's say, so they got one win now. So let's say they win one. Let's say they lose one more, maybe even two. They go 13-3.
I think 13-3 is what we're looking at. Best case is 14-2. I think they're due for another loss. It happens, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Slip up. Losses happen.
And they still have a ton of divisional games left. I said earlier on my post-game show, I think, they're at Chicago week 17. And as we were just talking about with Josh, that might be a very big implication game, assuming the Packers lose. Let's say they're 12-3 heading into week 17, right? They win, they've got the 1 seed. They lose, they become the 2 seed. And that's now for a bye. It changes this year. And they're at Chicago. I think they do split this season series with Chicago. Preferably, I'd like Chicago to win at Green Bay and then on November 29th, and then have the Packers win to start the new year. I think they split that series. That's going to be another loss. I mean, we can talk about Chicago sucking. We can say they're not real all we want. They're 5-1, man. They're getting wins. All of them have been one-possession games. All 6 of their games have been one-possession games. The biggest deficit being their loss to Indianapolis, and that was an 8-point game. So they know how to stay in games. Their offense is nothing like Green Bay's. Their defense is a hell of a lot better than Green Bay's. So their defense keeps them in games. Green Bay's offense keeps them in games. And it's going to be a weird game when they match up.
So like the Bears are a little bit like the Packers last year. The Packers last year, the defense did some shit. I'm not saying exactly, but like the Packers last year won some games. Like they stole a few games. Like
they won ugly last year. Yeah. Like I said earlier, their identity last year was winning ugly games. The Packers by no means won pretty games last year, right? Like they had that walk-off Monday night game against Detroit that they won by a point last year. They beat Kansas City without Patrick Mahomes by was it even a touchdown? I think it was a touchdown. What else did we have last year? We had close games that shouldn't have been close, right? They lost to the Chargers last year by 15 points. So
and that's kind of what the Bears are doing this year. Like they're winning these close games. So you can't discredit it. Like a win is a win. Like they always say, dude, your record is what you are. Like people talk about, well, like that last year, the Packers, they're the worst 13-3 team ever. Like that's not a thing. That doesn't make sense.
And they were in the NFC Championship game. I bet you could find some 13-3 teams that didn't make it to the actual. Let me do you one better. I can find you a 15-1 team in 2011 season that didn't make it to the NFC Championship game. You are what you do, man.
Yeah,
Even if you're
exactly.
9-7, or I guess in the Packers' case in 2010, they were 10-6. They weren't that good of a football team, but they still won the fucking Super Bowl, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
Nobody, dude. I try to remind people of this. In 2010, that season, nobody was talking about the Packers winning the Super Bowl. Like, I remember that season. Like, I'm old as shit. Like, nobody was saying like, "Oh,
I remember that season too, and I'm not that old."
But nobody was saying like, "Oh, this is a Super Bowl team." That was one of those seasons where like, you never know. Like, just keep chugging along.
Just get in. I mean, the Bears were really good that year, and you knew the division was probably going to the Bears, especially the way they started that season off. But they still ended up winning the fucking Super Bowl. Like, you can't count that out. Anything's still possible. It's one bad loss. It's nothing you can overreact to. Don't call for Mike Pettine's head. He's not going to get fired mid-season. Don't be silly. They're 4-1. It's a bad day at the office, as somebody just said. Keith Peterson in the chat. It's a bad day at the office. He's absolutely correct. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I'm looking for comments, but I can't see them. But yeah, dude, we're gonna be all right. All right. I think we discussed everything. Hey, I appreciate
we gonna be all right.
We gonna be all right. No,
can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, we gonna be all right.
We gonna be all right.
Yeah. Let's go!
Let's go, baby!
We can still get fired up after a 28-point loss and 38 unanswered points. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can, baby. Next week, the streak begins again. Green Bay Packers versus the Texans. We gonna
there it is.
The first W of the streak will begin. Let's go.
Hey, before you sign off on me, I just want to point one thing out. Right. One bad llama. Can you pull up his comment, second to bottom?
What do you say?
He's been in your chat the whole time, and all he's done is say how much he hates the Packers. You know him, I assume.
Well, on Twitter, he's a troll. He's kind of funny.
He seems pretty funny. He's been making funny comments all night. I just want to thank him for being a non-Packer fan and sticking with obviously not only me but you this whole show. That's pretty neat. Look at you. Look at your impact on other teams' fans.
No, hey, I do appreciate One Bad Llama. He follows me on Twitter. He makes like little gifs of me, puts my face on weird shit, running into shit. It's hilarious. No, because, dude, real quick before we head out of this thing, dude, that's what I love about football, about all this shit, is the trash talk. Because like this dude trashes me every day. He's been in Twitter. I've been ignoring him after the game because he was really going at me. No, but that's what football trash talk is. I talk some shit, and the Packers, Packers caught an L, so I know I'm gonna get it, and I'll take it. I'll accept it.
You gotta take it. You got to take it because do you know his favorite team? He's a Vikings fan by chance.
Yeah, he's a Vikings fan.
Oh yeah, so I mean he's getting it a lot worse than you are, Matty. Even though I assume you have more people that shit talk you than he does. He's still getting it probably more often than you are because the Vikings suck this year. I mean, they've taken a huge step in the wrong direction. Kevin Stefanski, I mean, do we blame it on his impact now that he's the head coach of the Browns, who also looked awful today? But who knows? I like hashtag we gonna be all right. I think we need to make that Kendrick Lamar song our anthem.
Dude, I'm definitely gonna post that on Instagram tomorrow. That video clip. We gonna be all right.
Can you hear me? Can you feel me, baby? We gonna be all right. Yeah, we gonna be all right.
I might even put the song clip in that motherfucker. All right. Hey, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Shout out to Alex Shrove. Appreciate
cheers, bro.
Josh
Anytime,
Moser.
bro. Anytime.
Josh Moser, stop. But everyone who watches my live shows, I for real thank you so much because I know it's not the highest of quality.
I disagree, man. We're way more entertaining than those fuckers on ESPN.
You know what I mean?
I bet they aren't singing Kendrick Lamar.
No, they're not. Or you know what I'm saying? No, I appreciate everyone who tunes in and watches, whether you love me or you hate me or you're just in the middle somewhere.
Hey, Matty, cheers. Let's sign up. Can you reach your camera?
Oh no, I dude, my camera's so far away. Like, hey, no, I'm gonna try for you. Oh fuck! I just stepped on my cord. I'm gonna fucking rip my ear off. All right, cheers, motherfuckers. Hey, next week we will be back with a W, baby.
We gonna be all right.
We gonna be all right.